Hey everybody, welcome to Cisco Africa Academy. It's a subsidiary of Cisco Africa, a pan-media Africa company, which specializes in showcasing excellence in people and of African descent majorly, both in Nigeria and also those in diaspora. And it's a privilege for us to have Ellen with us this evening as she have a masterclass on IoT. And she's a tech researcher, a software developer, and the CEO of Flozytech. She holds a diploma, an advanced diploma in software engineering, and she has been doing some great innovations and some great things with her works, which you can also learn from to use by yourself. Yes, you do this by yourself, and then you're able to uh, practicalize and see how you can begin to advance on this. This is just like a beginner's class. So we are set, we are ready. So I think we should kickstart the session. So Ellen is going to take the platform now. So from now on, it's going to be just Ellen taking on the platform. So just get set, take a notepad, and we take it away from here. Thank you so much. My name is Uluwatomi Seloyo, by the way, and I'm the principal of Cisco Africa Academy. Thank you so much. Ellen, you have the platform, please.
I posted something on the group. I don't know if anyone checked it out. Please, can you indicate it? Maybe you tried it and it worked for you. All right, so the people raising up their hands, you've installed code blocks, it's working now.
Yes.
Okay, because I can see some people telling me there that it's not working. I don't know. All right, I'll just go ahead and share my screen. So let's just go to what we have today. All right, once again, welcome everyone to the first day of my 3 days IoT masterclass. All right.
Welcome, disturbing.
Hello, Enin. Good evening. Sorry,
Hello.
I was raising my hand, but I didn't know the procedure to ask question actually. So let me just quickly ask this. So the procedure you showed us for the code blocks is actually for Windows, right? And
Yes,
I
it's
have issue installing it on Mac, and I got to see on their platform that I think they have some issue with Mac or something. So I would just like to know if there is an alternative or something.
Okay, you have VS Code, right?
Yes, I have VS Code. Yes.
Okay, so you can use VS Code. Install the C++ extension of VS Code.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
Okay. I don't know if any other person is using VS Code. I might not be able to walk you through the installation process right here.
Yeah, it's not a problem actually. I'll find my way around it. Thank you.
Okay, fine. Thank you. All right, I'm trying to share my screen right. All right, I don't know if you can see my screen. If you can see my screen, please just raise your hand. Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, once again, welcome to the IoT Masterclass, 3 days IoT Masterclass. And I hope this will actually be fun for us and also very educative. Okay, so we just have 3 days to cover some things in IoT. And if you checked the registration, there were some things I listed out that we're going to cover within these 3 days. And I hope we do so. All right. Okay, so if maybe during my session, maybe you want to ask a question or something like that, you can just type it, all right? You can type it, and then if I see it, I will come back and maybe answer your question. Although the last 30 minutes, this is a 2-hour class. So the last 30 minutes, we are going to use it to take general questions. I'm going to use it to clear all of you on all that I have said. All right, thank you so much. Okay, deep dive into IoT, and these are our objectives for today. I'm going to introduce you to the Internet of Things, and I'm going to tell you just list some key components of Internet of Things, and also introduce you to C++. Now, C++ is the major language for embedded systems. All right, so I'm going to just introduce you to C++. We are going to write some C++ code. For those of you who are new to this, I'm going to try to make it like very basic so that you all will follow. Please, if you have any questions during my session, remember to put it down. All right, introduction to the Internet of Things. The Internet of Things is a network of interconnected computing devices which are embedded in everyday objects, enabling them to send and receive data. Now, I know you all have been hearing like something before now. I think I was trying to explain what IoT is, okay? The Internet of Things. So I know so many of you have been hearing about IoT, and some of you don't even know what it's all about and all that. So, but IoT gives us the opportunity to be able to use our codes, the normal codes you write, to control hardware devices, okay? And I was saying that it's a system embedded in our everyday objects. So this particular kind of technology just makes things that are not supposed to be smart to be very smart. All right, it's just like your light bulb now. Like normally, nothing is, it's not supposed to have any sense. It's not it's supposed to have any brain. But then with IoT, with the concept of IoT now, you can be able to make this bulb smart. The bulb will understand when you walk into your house, yes, I need to turn on the lights. I need to be on. Then, and various other things, various other way of sensing, and then turning on the bulb and others. Okay, a good example of all this is just like the automatic door you all see in maybe ShopRite and all those places. You can just walk in and the door will open. Now, this door is not a living thing. Normally, this door is not supposed to open. Like, it's not even supposed to think. But with the concept of IoT, Internet of Things, we can be able to program this door. And the door can be able to sense that, yes, someone is coming. I need to open up for the person to pass and all that. And also, when we talk about robots, I know you all have heard and seen the latest robots now, which can do so many things. You see robots trying to behave like human beings. On a normal, these are just like parts. These are just parts brought together, fixed together. They are non-living things fixed together, and at the end, they start moving just like human beings. So that is the concept of IoT now. All right. Okay, so IoT makes devices which are naturally dumb to be smart and act on their own without any human interaction. Nobody is telling the bulb to on, nobody is switching on that bulb, but it will sense that yes, someone came in and it will turn on. Or maybe you can even stay somewhere like Abuja and control your bulb that is in Lagos. So even this kind of distance, IoT can handle it and everything. So we're going to see some use of IoT in the real world. You know, when I'm trying to introduce you to this particular technology, you should like understand after this, what am I going to be solving in the world? What am I going to use IoT to achieve in the world? What are the things I'm going to do with IoT? So I'm just going to play some videos for you and also give you some instance of IoT so that you will know exactly what this technology is all about. Okay, so sorry for that. Okay, I just wanted to show you like what IoT can be used for in like a practical way. Okay, and other uses of IoT in the real world, you can use it for smart home, for smart cities, for health, in the healthcare industry, for security, for in the agricultural sector, and to build robots. All right, it's just like the smart home, so you don't like need to control your devices manually. You can just stay anywhere and control your devices. Maybe you traveled and you suddenly remembered that you left your light at home on. You don't need to like waste the energy, the electrical energy or anything like that. You can just, at the comfort of wherever you are, click a button on your phone and then the light in your house, wherever it is, will switch on. We switch off. Or you can just command this with your voice, just speak into your phone, and then your light, wherever it is, will automatically switch off. So that is it. And smart cities, like maybe there are cameras everywhere in the city. You can be able to monitor the city wherever you are, and you can tell, okay, today there is actually a traffic congestion here. I won't follow this road and all that. You'll be able to monitor the places well. So somewhere like Lagos, you need it very well there and all that. People will not be getting stuck in the traffic and something like that. Then in the healthcare, it will also assist doctors and everything. Instead of doing things in a manual way, doctors can be able to use automatic machines to work and all that. Then in security, you can actually use IoT to secure your home and every other thing. Maybe a fingerprint recognition system whereby it's only your fingerprint that can open your house, or just maybe when you come in and your door detects your face, it will be able to open and know that yes, you are the one coming in now. So although it won't be able to open for any other person, but only you. So this is IoT in action now. And in the agricultural sector, it will help at least to make, let's say, plant watering, irrigation. It will help to make irrigation automatic. Okay, the sensors there will actually just sense when there is no water in the plants again, and it will automatically activate the pumping machine, which will water the plants and everything. So in IoT, everything is done automatically. What is the goal of IoT? To make things easy for us humans, to make things very easy to help us. Okay, and the wearable devices, something like the blind glasses and everything, it will actually help to control the blind people, and this will help them a lot. So these are just some of the uses of IoT in the real world. When you're talking about IoT, you're talking about building this kind of smart technologies. All right, the key components of IoT. I know that when I'm talking about using your code to control your devices, you don't understand. How can you do this? How will you even be able to put your code into the machine and all those things? What will be able to control your code? To be able to control the devices. Now, there are 4 key components that you need to understand about IoT. The first one is the microcontroller unit. The second one are the sensors. Third one is cloud computing. And the last one are the actuators or the hardware devices. Now, these four things, these four key components are very, very essential. Okay, the microcontroller unit is actually the brain of everything. That is the brain of everything. So I'm going to be talking more on this microcontroller unit later tomorrow. I'm going to be talking more on that. So the microcontroller unit is the brain of everything. That is where you will upload your code. It's the microcontroller that will send signals to every part of every components you are using, every other components. That is the brain. It's just like the CPU of whatever you are building. Is this MCU, the microcontroller unit, that will be able to trigger the sensors, and then the sensors will be able to receive information, receive data, and give it back to the microcontroller unit. So with the data received by the sensors, the microcontroller unit will know the action to trigger. It will know exactly what to tell the hardware device to do. Okay, so just take it as the brain of everything. Then when we're talking about the sensors is actually like getting physical measurements. Okay, something like temperature. Maybe you want to measure temperature of a particular place. You're working with temperature. Then you know that you are working with the temperature sensor. So everything about IoT is all about the sensors. It's all about the sensors that you will come in and then your lights will automatically turn on. That means there is something that I've sensed. There is a sensor there that sensed when someone walked into the room, and that is a motion sensor. Now, maybe you're talking about this automatic door or something that is looking for when someone is coming towards it, and then it will open. We are talking about still the motion sensor or the ultrasonic sensor. Now, this ultrasonic sensor is responsible for detecting objects. Once object comes near it to a particular point, then it will send information to this microcontroller unit. And the microcontroller unit will trigger an action on any of these hardware devices. Maybe on the door, it will push the door. It will close the door. It will tell the door to do this or something like that, based on the readings received from the sensors. All right. When you're talking about building something that maybe detects daylight, detects when it's night, then you should be talking about the photoelectric sensor. Okay, that is going to detect the amount of light falling through it, and then you'll be able to take action with whatever reading you get. Okay, then when we talk about cloud computing, just like artificial intelligence, IoT is all about data. It's all about data. What I've been saying here, sensors are responsible for generating data. So IoT is all about data, and we need a place to store this data and control this data, which is the cloud. That is why you need cloud computing. For example, I think all these devices that will be able to monitor weather, that will be able to monitor some other things, maybe these wearable devices that will install on a patient's body, and then it will be taking live readings and be updating. Where is he uploading it to? He's uploading it directly to the cloud. So data generated by the sensors on the person's body. Maybe the sensor is trying to read blood sugar. All these data, they are being sent to the cloud, and this is where the data is managed. Okay, though you might not need cloud computing in almost every IoT project you are handling. Based on the kind of IoT projects you are doing, you might need to handle a lot of data. And when a scenario like this comes up, you store it in the cloud, and that is where you manage it. Then we're talking about the actuators and the hardware devices. These are the things, the physical devices that we know that act from data. So they are the ones that the microcontroller units trigger to do a particular thing. Something like the light bulb, your television, your microwave, whatever it is you want to automate, that is the actuator or the hardware device. So with these four components now, IoT is complete. Okay, now this is like a visual representation of the microcontroller unit. Okay, Now, the microcontroller unit is not just this that you are seeing here. There are so many microcontroller boards. That is why I specifically wrote here the Arduino microcontroller board. Now, this is called an Arduino microcontroller. We have other microcontrollers. We have the ESP32, and we have Raspberry Pi and every other microcontrollers. But the ones we are going to be focusing on now that is also very simple for beginners to understand how to use it is Arduino. So this thing you are seeing here is the brain of everything. All those projects you will see, and then maybe a bulb will turn on, something will happen, the door will move. This is exactly what is controlling it, the microcontroller board. So this is the microcontroller board, and by tomorrow, I'm going to, all these labeled parts, numbers from 0 to 13. So that is what we are going to be doing tomorrow. I'll be telling you exactly what those things mean. Whatever you want to connect, whatever you want to automate must be connected to all these pins. These things you're seeing here, they are pins. And whatever you want to automate must be connected to them. So I'm going to differentiate them to you tomorrow, their uses and every other thing. Then I know this board you're seeing here is also different. The board you're seeing at the left is also different. And you can see this is Arduino Mega here, and this is Arduino Uno. So even as Arduino is a microcontroller, Arduino microcontroller has different types. Okay, we have the Mega, we have the Uno, we have the Wemos board, the one that have one directly embedded into it. So this particular Arduino you're seeing here, they don't have Wi-Fi. If you want to like maybe connect to the cloud or something like that, you need an external Wi-Fi module for these boards you're seeing here now. But the Wemos board already have the Wi-Fi inside of it. Okay. Then these are also like a visual representation of the sensors I'm talking about. Okay, so these are some of the things that trigger actions in IoT. Like what I said about the ultrasonic sensor, you can see right here, this is an ultrasonic sensor, the one that detects the distance of an object. Then we have the PIR, the motion sensor. So it detects movements, it detects just movement around it. Then we have the temperature sensor, which detects temperature, okay, responsible for controlling temperature and all that. Then this you're seeing here is the photoelectric sensor. So this is the photoelectric sensor that detects the amount of light falling to it. So maybe you're looking to build a bulb that turns off during the day and on at night. This is exactly the sensor to use. So this is what will dictate the amount of light. Okay, maybe, okay, this is daytime, this is night. Let's act this. Okay, then this is the flame sensor. This is the sensor used for the fire, for all these fire alarm, automatic fire extinguishing systems and all that. Now, this is a motto. This is a motto for like this kind of projects. Maybe you want to build an automatic car. This is exactly what you will use. So as this iron is moving, as it is rotating, then the tire attached to it is also rotating. Okay, then we talk about the speed sensor. This speed sensor controls the speed. Okay, it measures the speed of something, and this speed sensor is found in this motor, because you know that in this motor we also need to control the speed, the movement of the tire and everything. So this speed sensor is also found inside this motor. All right, so this is just like a basic introduction to what IoT is. And for us to code IoT, we need some software languages. You can use Python, you can use JavaScript, you can use Java, you can use C and C++. Now, for you to go into the field of IoT, you need to understand the concept of C and C++, because that is the major language used for embedded systems. And we are going to use C++ for this particular course. So these are just the basic things we are going to learn under C++. And when Arduino has its own IDE, but the Arduino IDE was built from C++. Okay, I chose C++ as the language we are going to be using. And today I'm going to introduce you to some aspect of C++. We are going to write some codes so that when we enter into Arduino, then we are already familiarized with the code we wrote. Okay, I don't know, the software I told you people to install. I know some people have not installed it, but I'm going to go through the installation process again. So let's just install it, because yes, I told you people I just changed system right now, and I also need to install on my own. Okay, so please, if you don't understand anything, you can just call me back so that I will explain. All right, first of all, you go to codeblocks.
I have a question. Can you write
Okay.
can you write the language with Rust?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Can you write the language with Rust?
Can you write a language with Rust?
No. Can you write the Arduino project with Rust programming language?
Okay, well, Rust, I don't know about that, but it will not be like so popular. It will not be like so popular. Like Arduino now, you can find Arduino code is open source and you can find it like almost everywhere. So you have codes to build upon. That is why you should choose languages that are already popular in this field, so that when you have a problem, you can easily just turn to the next person and be like, yes, I'm doing it, and the person will help you. So Rust is not really that popular in IoT.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I have a question too. Can I go on?
Okay, yeah. Yes.
So yeah, I'm coming from like a Python background. So
Okay.
so I'm already moving to like advanced from intermediate Python.
Sorry, excuse
actually,
me. Please, sorry, excuse me. Please, as they are just asking some questions, I'm going to be going through the installation process. So you can just be looking at it. If you've not installed it, you can just follow me up with what I'm doing, please. Yes, please continue.
so I don't know if C++ is like something really like essential that if you want to like code IoT or something, like is there a can I find open source for Python codes on Arduino or all these stuff?
Well, Python is a very good language for IoT. Okay, Python is a very good language for IoT. But like what I said, C++, C and C++, they are just like the father of embedded systems. So if you really want to understand it, it will be better to go through C and C++. Though Python, when we are talking about AI now, trying to like implement AI into IoT, Python and Raspberry Pi, that is what we'll be talking about. So C, C++, and Python, they are very important to you as an IoT engineer. Okay, if you already have a background in Python, okay, Raspberry Pi works very well with Python. Arduino too works with Python. Yes, you can actually upload a Python code into the Arduino. Okay, so, well, for this class, I'm just going to start with C++. So you can just follow up, but you can still use Python to do your things. Okay, we're going to install the code blocks 20.03. Okay.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Right, I have a question. I noticed you are in certain
Okay.
code block, and Arduino has its own IDE separate.
Yes.
Can someone walk the Arduino IDE in
Okay.
case with this?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, you know the Arduino IDE is just for working with the Arduino board. So I just want to like help you people to understand the basics of this coding, because when I go to Arduino now, I'll be creating variables, I'll be declaring variables, I'll be declaring functions, and some people may not understand what I'm doing. So this C++ class I'm doing right now will help you to understand what I will do in the Arduino IDE.
Okay, that means we are
I
not
don't know
using
if
this
you got
particular
that.
code block. Yeah, I get it. We are not using this particular code block for the robotics,
We are
right?
not using it to code Arduino. Yes, we are not using it for
Okay,
Arduino. We are
okay,
just
okay.
using it to like code C++ now and understand the concept of C++.
Okay, now I get you. Thank you. You will not bring it to the
Yes, you're welcome. Is anyone following me through this installation process? Can I just see your hand, please?
Yes.
If you're following me, just raise your hand, please, or let me just bypass it.
Hello, sorry. Do you suggest that we install
Yeah.
code blocks 2 in our system?
Yes, I would suggest that. Because even after now, you still need to practice constantly. You still need to practice C++ constantly.
Because I'm having just one version. I'm using, I saw a different version, many versions for Windows, but I'm using a Mac. So I saw like a 13.2, a zip file. I don't know if that's
I don't know. I
I
think
think
you
you
might
can
just
use
like
VS Code.
Hello,
after this class.
hello.
After this
We
class,
are following you on the installation. Please, can you complete one process, then continue with another? We are trying to
yes,
install this.
I'm going to complete it. I'm trying to download. I'm trying to download mine,
Okay,
and it's
fine.
still.
Just do your downloading and install. Let us be seeing the process. After your installation, then question can start coming in. Maybe if they want to ask what value you use, blah blah and all that. So from there you start explaining.
Okay, you can see my screen now, right?
Please, you can go back a little bit to miss the previous step that will bring you to.
Just from here, you click on download. You click on download and it will start downloading.
Also, Helen, if it's possible, can you record so that if people are having challenges with any part of the class, you can always go back to it? Because if we keep doing this, we might stay here till tomorrow.
The meeting is recorded.
Oh,
It's recorded.
All right.
okay. I've click on download. So what's the next thing?
You are downloading already, right? We have to wait for it to finish downloading.
Keep me updated.
Yeah, we have to wait for it to finish downloading.
Hello, Harry. Please, what about all that is using Mac? How do we install?
I think Mr. Gossin, you sent the link right now, right? Please check the chat. There's a link there. Those using Mac should use that link to download code blocks. I think I'm going to use an online editor just to save our time. So you can also just follow me and use an online editor. Then later, you go to install the code blocks. I think that will be
Okay,
fine.
I think that would be better. Yeah, that would be better just
Yes.
to hasten the class. When we are done installing the code blocks, we can use it for tomorrow's class also.
Yeah, I think by tomorrow we should all have code blocks. Okay, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Sorry, I need to confirm if you all can see my screen here. Okay, okay. All right. So the basics of C++, they're just the C out, the C in, the end L, and comment. So for those people who are new to programming, I think this is where you need to pay so much attention to now. Okay. This is another editor, and this is just the bootstrapped code. Even when you open C code blocks, when you create a new project, you will see this as the default code there. Okay, so this is just a way. This is just a way to run your first code, your first C++ code. Now, every language has a way of outputting. It has a way of showing something to the user, just outputting on people's screen and all that. So for PHP, we have the echo. For Python, we have the print. And for C++, we have the C out. So whenever you see C out and this sign, that means we are trying to show something on the screen. All these things that you're seeing here, when I run this code, they won't show, except I use maybe C out to show it on the screen. I think to be more practical here, let me run this code. All right. You can't see anything, right? There's nothing meaningful that you're seeing here. But whatever I want to show to anyone. Whatever I want to show, then I will have to write my C out. This is my first C++ code. Sorry, remember your semicolon, please. So it's an error now because the semicolon is not there.
Standard up. Let's see.
Hello?
I think you're missing out using namespace.
Okay. I'll still explain this that I just did. Okay, so this is it now. The hello world is out now. Okay, so this was what happened before. I think when we opened this particular online IDE, this was what we saw. This. Okay, so but then anything input and output, just like see out, that I want to do, if I for you, so you should add this include namespace std, just to add it once to the whole project. Yes, just to add it once to the whole project. Then anytime I'm doing see out, I don't need to include this std anymore. But if this is not here, then it's expecting you to include std. Anytime you have see out, see in, you need to include this std. Okay, so I'm going to use it this way, and I'm going to remove this std here. So when I run it, I'm declaring this.
Hi,
Sorry, not
Helen.
include, use. Yeah. Sorry, not include, using. I used include here. So the keyword there is using namespace std, not include namespace std. Yes, and this is it. So this see out is just a way of showing something on the screen. Whatever you use see out, whatever you use with see out, that means that particular thing is going to show on the screen. Okay. This is my first C++ code. Then when I run it, this is it. Okay, so this is just the format for showing something on the person, on your user's monitor in C++. Okay, I don't know if you got that. Okay, then moving over to the next thing. All right, so for example, I have this C out here, and I have another C out. Remember to write it this way, adding this arrow. Welcome. Remember the semicolon. Okay. If I run this, I don't know if you noticed something here. These are in two different lines, right? But these words, this sentence, these two sentences, they are joined together. So assuming I want to separate them, like I want to take this one down, then after this, after whatever text I want to write, I have to add this end line. That is the meaning of this. End line. So whatever is coming next after this end line goes to the next line. I think let's run this. Okay, so this is it. Whatever is coming next after this end line goes to the next line. Same thing applied here. See out, no line. Because there is no end line here, if I run this, it will join together with the welcome here. So they're joined together until I add the end line here. Then it will be able to break it down. Okay. Now you might be wondering, why am I using this quotation here? Why am I using this quotation here? So it will actually show an error because this is a string. The next thing I'm going to talk about now are the data types in C++ and variables. So the data types and variables, you will see exactly the reason why you need to, whatever string, whatever thing that is a string, a text value that you are writing, you have to impute, you have to use the quotation mark. Okay. Okay. All right, you can just be writing down this code and be running it on your own end just to understand it better. All right, so I think I skipped this. C++ is an object-oriented programming language. It is an extension of C programming. That is why I always advise anyone that wants to learn C++ to start from C. So not like you cannot learn C++ without learning C, but C++ is an extension of C. And when you understand C language, it will help you to advance to C++. And then you will not have any problem adapting to C++. Okay, C++ is a general purpose, case sensitive, free-form programming language that supports object-oriented, procedural, and generic programming. So the more you enter into the programming space, the more you understand these terms, the object-oriented, the procedural, and the generic programming. Okay, I just wanted to point this out, case sensitive. What this means is that any keyword is that it can identify small letters and capital letters. It can identify small letters and capital letters. For example, if I do this, I don't know if you saw the error. So there's an error here because this C++ keyword, C out, is supposed to be in capital letter. Sorry, it's supposed to be in small letter. And I just used capital letter to do it. So as little as this particular detail is, you must obey it in C++. It's very, very case sensitive. You cannot use what is supposed to be in capital letter. You cannot write it in small letter and it will work. And what is supposed to be in small letter, you cannot write it in capital letter and it will work. The same thing with Arduino language. So when we start writing Arduino, you will see some of these things, some of these mistakes that you will make, and the error will start showing up. All right, C++ supports the object-oriented programming, and the four major pillars of object-oriented programming used in C++ are inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, and abstraction. So I will not really go detailed. I will not really go into this because this is a whole lot of topic on its own. Okay. Now, this is our first C++ code, and I just showed you how to write this using the namespace std. If you want to remove this line, then you have to add std before you put anything C out. All right, then let's talk about the C++ comments. I think I've talked about the end line. So this cin, I'll talk about it later after talking about variables and data types. So for now, let's talk about the comments. Now, what is a comment? I know that you are actually seeing this, write C++ code here. But when I run this code, that thing is not here. we are expecting write C. We are supposed to expect write C++ code here. We are supposed to see it here, but it's not here. So that is exactly what comment is. So comment is just a way of describing your blocks of code. The compiler will not execute it. It will not execute this code. Any code that is in the comment format, it will not execute it. It will just pass it. Okay, but that code, that thing is there, that text is there because you want to describe what that particular thing is doing. Am I just like, okay, writing our first C++ code? That is just a description of everything I will have under here. I can still come down here and open up another comment. Now, this is the symbol for writing a comment. Anytime C++ sees double slash, it will ignore whatever that is in that line, because that is the format for writing C++ comments. It will ignore whatever that is there. Okay, if I remove this comment now, this particular comment on this code, if I remove it, even the color changed, and it showed you that it's no longer a comment. You are trying to do something else. And when you run it, you are going to see an error, because none of this is a C++ keyword. Writing our first CPP code is not understanding it. Sorry, someone is actually making noise. Can you mute yourself, please? Okay, all right. So writing our first C++ code, it couldn't understand this thing. That is why there's an error here. And it is no longer a comment because the double slash sign is no longer there. So it's either, when we remove this, is either we write, okay, cout, which means we are trying to tell it to output this. That is console.out. C++ is a console application. So we are trying to write out to the console. That is why we are using cout. So either we use cout, this sign, and then we remember our quotation mark here. And remember your semicolon. And then when we run this code, can you see that writing our first C++ code, that particular line is out? And because there is no end line at the end of it, the second statement joined together in the same line with it. Okay, so that is just how to write C++ comment. In case maybe you want to comment your code and understand what you were trying to write, okay, then you need these comments. All right, let me go to the next thing. Now, let's talk about variables. Variables and data type. We are going to talk about both of them at the same time because we can't use one without each other. Okay, when declaring a variable, we need to declare the data type of that variable. Now, data type is just as the name implies, data type, the type of data you are storing in this variable. So unlike languages like JavaScript that you just use var or let, in C++, you have to tell us the kind of data type you'll be storing in this variable. And once declared, if you use any other kind of data type that is not the data type you declared from the beginning, it will not accept it. It's an error already. Okay, so now there are certain rules for naming a variable in C++. The first one is that a variable name can only have alphabets, numbers, and the underscore. That is the only thing a variable name can have. There is no other thing that should be there. Alphabets, numbers, and the underscore. A variable name cannot begin with a number. It is preferred practice to begin variable names with a lowercase character. For example, name is preferable to name. All right, now, just like what I was saying about C++ being case sensitive, even in variables, in naming your variables, okay, C++ is case sensitive there, that if you name your variable as name, small letter, and you wanted to call that variable and you used name capital letter, it will not work. Okay, then a variable name cannot be a keyword. A reserved keyword in C++, I'm going to give you those reserved keywords. For example, a variable name cannot be cout because cout is a reserved keyword. This is a keyword that C++ understands. So if you're naming a variable with the name cout, it will think that you are trying to output something, and that will be an error. So now this is the way to declare a variable in C++. I was talking about the data types, and there are just some data types I listed here. Integers, strings, characters, floats, and double, bool. Now, for each kind of data you are storing, you need to choose the data type you will store them with. So now variable is just a name holding a value. So variable is a name holding this data. Instead of all the time writing Helen, or maybe you want to make a sentence, Helen is a good girl. Instead of writing that thing, that Helen is a good girl all the time in your code, you can just, hello, please mute yourself. Someone is actually making noise. Okay. So a variable is actually a name holding a value. So let me be doing everything practical so that you will understand what I'm talking about. All right. So when I'm talking about variable, first of all, you're going to declare the type of data you're storing in that variable. If it is a number, then that means it is an integer. And I'm going to use the keyword int. As you can see, once I use this keyword, the color changed. That's the same thing you're going to see in code blocks. When you use a reserved keyword, the color will change. Then the next thing we are expecting is the name of the variable, which might be age. Okay, age. And this age variable, we are expecting integers only. Equal to, because it's a number, we will not use this because it's a number. So I can say 100. And this is it. So we just declared a variable, age, with the type integer, and the value is 100. So let me do something here. Let me use a string because this quotation mark means that it is a string. So let me run this code. Okay. I don't know if you can see this. There's an error here. Int age is equal to this. So age is an integer and is expecting only numbers. You are not supposed to give it a string because once I put this in quotation mark, whatever I put in quotation mark is already a string. Is already a text value. So I have to remove this and run my code. This time around it will work. Now remember, you are not going to see this on the screen. So that is why it is a backend language. Nobody is seeing what is going on unless you want to print it out for people to see. That is where cout comes in. So that is where cout comes in. If I want to actually make you to see this age, then I will have to do cout age. So now, because this is a variable, as it is already a variable, I don't need to use this. If I use the quotation mark, it will interpret it as a string. It will just print out age for me, just like this. Okay, this thing. Okay. It will just print out age. You can see the age here. So just print it out for me. So let me just add the end line here so that everything will be neat. But if I remove this string, then it will identify that this is a name declared here. This is a name, and it will pick whatever value that name is carrying, and that is what it will show. So let's run it. You can see 100. 100. That is exactly what a variable is. A name holding a value. All right. So instead of coming here to say C out 100, not coming here to say C out 100, we decided to put this in a variable and call the name of the variable here. So this is it. All right, so there are other data types. When we talk about the string data type, then C++ is expecting a string, no longer a number. So that's why we have to put something here. Helen is a good girl. And when we run it, remember the name is th, and we are printing age to the screen. The value of age is Helen is a good girl. So whenever we see age, that means what we want to write is Helen is a good girl, because that is the value stored inside age. All right. Okay, so I just made a mistake now. The case sensitive stuff I was talking about, I think I used the capital letter S instead of a small letter s here. And this is it. So little details like this can just throw error for you in C++. Then there are also other kinds of data types. I'm not going to name all for you. So you will go and study the rest. We have the float. Num, I just want to name it number. Num is equal to 0. Now, any number that is float must have a point. That is why it's a floating number. If it is just a whole number, then it is an integer. But if it is a floating number, then it will have a point. All right. So let's run this and see. So it's actually showing an error here because there is nothing called age. You know, I changed this variable name to num, no longer age. So there is nothing called age, but I'm trying to output age on the console. So it's not identifying it. Now this is it. If I write 1 here instead of putting a decimal point, okay, let me use integer here. And let me declare a decimal number. Okay, so this will round it. It will round it to the nearest integer. And it will round towards the 0. It will round up towards the 0. So that is for you. If I want to have a number like this, then I have to use float because it is a number that have a decimal point. And yes, we can see it very well. All right. Then we have the character, which we represent with CHAR, car. We have the bool, okay? Then the next thing we are going to talk about is the operators. Operators are symbols that perform operations on variables and values. For example, plus is an operator used for addition, while minus is an operator used for subtraction. Now, operators in C++ can be classified into the following: arithmetic operators, assignment operators, relational operators, and logical operators. So for now, I'm going to talk about the arithmetic operators. Okay, so just like the name implies, the arithmetic operators are these. Okay, I think I have to make a comment now. You remember the comment symbol, then arithmetic operators, which are plus, minus, division, and multiplication. Okay, so these are the arithmetic operators, and we are going to make use of them now. All right. First of all, I think let's create a variable. 2 variables. Since we are dealing with operators, right? we can only multiply, subtract, add, or divide numbers only. We cannot do any of these operations in a string, in a text. A minus A, it doesn't make any sense. Helen minus Helen, it doesn't make any sense. So what we are going to perform, the kind of values we are going to perform action on right now are the integers. So we are going to declare int num1. So we're just naming, you can name your variable anything, but remember, your variable name must not start with a number. Your variable name must not start with a number. It can end with a number, but it cannot start with a number. You cannot use any other thing apart from numbers, alphabets, and underscore for a variable. Every other thing you use is recognized in C, and it will no longer see it as a variable. For example, if I use this now, I would think I'm still naming a variable, but no. C++ is understanding this thing as minus. So whatever I'm going to put here is going to try to minus that thing from num1. And that's an error because it doesn't make any sense. All right. So num1 is equal to 9. Let's just say 9. And int num2 is equal to 5. Remember, this is not going to show anything until I use the C out. If I want to show it, then I have to use the C out. C out. Now I want to perform an operation with these two numbers. So C out num1 plus num2. That is the value of number 1 plus the value of num2. Let's run this. All right, I think we can see it here. That's 14. So the last thing we didn't use the end line. That is why it's joining it together. So you can see that 9 plus 5 is 14. So this particular code now, this is it. 14. 14. All right. Okay. Then we can, I think to make it look more better, we can also like create another variable, an integer variable, because this plus this is also going to return an integer. Operations we are doing with numbers, they are going to return numbers. 9 minus 5 is still a number. 9 plus 5 is still a number. So we are going to use another variable now. Just let's name it addition total. That is just the name we want to name it. You can name it whatever on your own, but it's good to give variables a name that can be understood. Okay, addition total is going to store the value of number 1 plus number 2. So this is it. Now, anytime we call cout addition total, it will give us the value of number 1 plus number 2. Sorry, this is supposed to be 1. To give us the value of number 1 plus number 2. Yes. So this is it. Anytime we call addition total, it will give us this, the value of this. Now, just to make it look more better, total addition is equal to, then we'll use this sign again, because if we write addition total here, remember it will interpret it as a string because it is inside the quotation mark. But if we write it out here, it will no longer interpret it as a string. It will check if this kind of thing exists, if it is declared in this program. And yes, it is declared here. All right. So this is what we are going to see. Okay, I forgot the semicolon. Please always remember that. Okay, this is it. Total addition is equal to 14. And that is what we have here. So you can try the others, or you can try the others on your own. I can create another variable and name it minus total equal to num1 minus num2. And then I think I'm going to just be very fast. Okay, total subtraction is equal to minus total. So I'm going to call minus total here, and it's going to give me the value of num1 minus num2, just like this. Okay, so this is it. Total subtraction is equal to 4. 9 minus 5 is equal to 4. All right, so because I don't have the end L, remember, before I put that end L, I'll add this. I'll add this sign. I need to go to the next. Is another statement altogether. And yes, it just came down. So you can try out the division, the multiplication. Just show it like this. Print it on your screen like this and get familiar with it. Then the assignment operators, I think in the next thing we are going to do, we are going to use the assignment operators. All right. So we've been using the assignment operator and we didn't even notice. This is a typical example of the assignment operator. This particular equals you are seeing here. So we just assigned 9 to this variable num1. And this equal to here is an assignment operator. So we are using this equal to assign a value to this variable. That is what assignment operator is all about. Then we'll talk about the if conditional statements. Okay, in computer programming, we use the if-else statements to run one block of code under certain conditions and another block of code under different conditions. For example, assigning grades A, B, C based on marks obtained by a student. So we have to check, okay, this student, maybe she obtained 90% in mathematics. That means she scored an A. So if this is this, let this be this. That is what conditional statement is. There is an if statement there. Okay, so let's just try out something using this conditional statement. There are 3 forms of if-else statements in C++. We have the if statement, we have the if-else statement, and we have the if, else if, and else statements. So let us just do something. Okay, right. This is the syntax for a conditional statement in C++. We want to check for a particular condition. Okay, now I think we are going to accept a value. All these things I've been showing you. I've been showing you how to print out to the screen, but not how to enter. Maybe you want to ask someone to enter something. So how will the person enter something into your program, and your program will process that thing? Okay. I don't know if you all are hearing me. Please, can you indicate by raising up your hand if you are still following? Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Okay. Now, if we want to accept an input from the user, it's very simple. That is where the cin statement comes in. All right. So now a thing. Okay, yeah, you can actually declare a variable like this. I know we've been using int. You can declare a variable like this, int less than the variable x, and we just leave it like this without assigning anything to it. Okay, maybe subsequently in the program, we will assign a particular value to that thing, which is what we are going to do now. So I think let's see out. We are going to print out something to the screen. Enter a number between 5 and 16. Between 5 and 60. Let's do it this way. So we want the user to enter a number between 5 and 60. Now, remember your semicolon. Then, for us to just notice this, you see, I can just do this. Okay, I can just enter this thing and
Sorry,
nothing will happen.
see how to see in a sense.
Okay.
Are you trying to print?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Okay, are you trying to print or?
Okay, can you hear me?
I think she is trying to prompt somebody to key in
No,
the value.
no, like he's trying to prompt, like she's talking about saying. I thought it was a mistake. Sorry.
Yes, don't worry, just hold on. Don't worry. All right, so I'm talking about how to accept a something, just anything from the user. All right, and remember, for it to make more sense, we have to print out something. So we use cin. We use cin. Accept input, and instead of using this arrow going to the left, we use the arrow going to the right. That is cin for you. Then we assign whatever we are getting to a variable, which is why we created this x. So whatever the user is entering into this program is going to be stored in the variable x. So subsequently, wherever we use x, is going to take whatever the user puts inside the cin, puts in here using the cin keyword. So that is what is going to happen. Now, assuming I removed this, I think let me use end line here so that this will end, this line will end. Now, assuming I didn't put this, let me just remove this. I used just only cin now. Okay, I think the arrow is there for you to enter something, and I just entered 5. You see, nothing happened. Nothing happened. But this particular statement is here just for it to make more sense. Enter a number between 5 and 60, then the arrow will appear here for the user to enter a number. So that is just a description of this is what we want you to enter. It doesn't make any sense that the arrow is just here looking at you. You didn't describe anything to it. So this is it now. I think it makes more sense now. Enter a number between 5 and 60, and the arrow is here. So it's expecting you to please now enter a number, and you can enter 5 and hit on enter. So now what happens next is what we are going to do. Because as you can see, this is where the program ended, right? The program ended here. There is nothing else following it. So it's not going to use the number the user entered to do anything. But we are the one to tell it, okay, whatever number this user enters, use it to do this. We are the one to tell it that. So that is what we are going to use if statement to do, conditional statement. So since we have already told the user to enter a number between 5 and 60, you know, nothing stops the user from entering 500 here. Nothing stops the user. But that is why we are programmers. We need to program this system in the way it should go. So anybody that enters anything greater than 60, no, we can't accept that. If you enter anything less than 5, no, we can't accept that. The only thing we accept is between 5 and 60. You are the one to restrict the users from doing that now. Okay, so that is where the if statement comes in. Remember that this number the user enter, once the person clicks on enter, this number is stored on this variable x. So the number is stored on this variable x. Then this is what we are going to use x to do. So this is the syntax for writing a conditional statement. If then we open a bracket, x is the number the user entered, is equal to, now remember that equal to is an assignment operator. So but now we are not trying to assign, we are trying to do some logical operations. That is why we don't use 1 equal to, but we use 2 equal to. So I don't know if you got that. So because we're not trying to just do an assignment, assign a value to x, we are trying to perform a logical operation. We are trying to match x to something. Then we'll use the double equal to instead of the single equal to. So if x is equal to 10, then we open a curly bracket. See out. Remember, we are going to show the user something, but only if x is equal to 10, that is only if what the user entered is 10, that is when this code will execute. If what the user entered is not 10, then this code has no reason to execute because this is false. So an if statement will execute when it is true. All right. So no, we don't accept that. So this is it now. I think let's run this code. All right, let me enter 10. You see what just happened? Because I entered 10, this came out. No, we don't accept that. All right, but let me enter another number. Let me run it again and enter another number, 6. So nothing happened because we didn't tell the program to do anything when it is 6. All right, so but this is not what we mean by enter a number between 5 and 60. What we mean by enter a number between 5 and 60 is that we cannot enter a number less than 5, and we cannot enter a number greater than 60. So any number we are entering should be between 5 and 60. So that is the condition we are going to check. If x is less than, this is the less than sign now. If x is less than 5, so this is what will happen. No, we don't accept that. Okay. Now remember that we also want to check if x is greater than 60. Then we use the AND operator. We use the AND operator. Sorry, the OR operator. I think I'm going to explain more on this and OR. Okay. So think if x is less than or is greater than 60 this time around. Now, this is not going to work because for this AND to execute, both of these must return true. I don't know if you understand, if you understand what I mean by that. These two statements, remember that these are actually two statements here. If x is less than 5, then we check, okay, is x less than 5? Maybe the person entered 6. We say, oh no, x is not less than 5. That means it's not true. Then we check, okay, is that same x greater than 60? If x is not greater than 60, that means it's not true. That means both of them are not true. All right, but if we're using and here, that means these two must be true. These two conditions must be true. X must be less than 5 and at the same time greater than 60 before this will happen. And you know that is not possible. So in some cases we need this and, but in this particular case, what we need is the OR statement. So this is OR. This is, or which means if any of this is correct, is x less than 5? Maybe no. Okay, not correct. Is x greater than 60? If yes, that means this code will execute because one of it is correct, one of it is true. All right, so I don't know if you caught that. Then when I run this, you can see, let me enter a number less than 5, 4. So you see, no, we don't accept that because this number we entered is less than 5. But remember, this number we entered, is it less than 6? Is it greater than 60? No. That is because it's not executing the two statements at once. It's going to check if only one is, it just needs one to be correct, and then it will run. All right. But when we use AND, it's going to check for the two. The two must be correct. Okay. Then I think let's run it again. Let me use a number between 5 and 60. Okay, let me use 45. Because you can see nothing happened. Okay, so that is where we come to else statement. Else means if none of this is true, then do this. Which means if we enter, is either it runs this code or it will run this code. So if we enter a number less than 5 or a number greater than 60, this code, it will show you no, we don't accept that. But then if the number you entered is not less than 5 and is not greater than 60, that means it's between 5 and 60, right? And that is what we want. That is what we are checking for. Then it will show you good job. So this is it. And if we run this code, you see that once I enter the number between 5 and 60, yeah, good job. So it have actually checked for this condition, and none of this is true. That is why it didn't go to this block of code. So it decided to execute the else statement because none of those conditions is true. So else, since it's not true, let's do this. And that is it. Okay. So, and another thing is you should be careful in what you are accepting from your user. So let me do this. No, we don't accept that. Now, remember that we are actually accepting, you remember that this variable is an integer, right? So I remember what I said, that whatever you've declared it with, you should continue with that kind of data type. That you should continue assigning that kind of data to it. So just like this now, this user assigned a string to this, not an integer. This is a string. So other languages like this will throw an error. That is runtime error now. So the program is already executing, and then someone entered something that the person is not supposed to enter, and it will shut down. So you should be able to take care of these kind of scenarios in your code, just for your user experience and all that. Because when your code encounter this kind of error, it will just crash there. It will stop there. It will not move again. All right. So okay, so that is it for the logical operators, and then the if else statements. So you have seen maybe those kind of things that you will see in a form, that the programmers there will know when you didn't enter anything inside the form, and they will show you a message like, no, enter something. They have checked with this if statement. They have checked if that form you are submitting is empty, and they will return to you. So they'll just print out something to you like, no, enter something, and something like that. All right. Okay, so I think I'm going to stop in this if statement. Yes. And I know we've gone a long way, so And yes. Okay, so now you can ask your questions if you have any.
Okay, please, if you have your question, please just raise your hands. Just raise your hands and we'll take it one after the other. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Okafo, please go ahead.
Okay, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can
we
hear
can
you.
hear
Good
you.
evening.
Okay, so I've been following the class, but to be honest, I've been a bit confused, like very, very confused. But I feel like maybe it's going to get better with time. So I want to ask, do these if statements and all these things, I think does C++ have the same similarity with Python? Or do you need to learn C++ and then learn Python, or just learn C++?
Okay, well, now the
So can you
difference
hear me?
between every yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. The difference between every programming language is just the syntax. Okay, it's just majorly the syntax. So this thing that you're seeing here, if you know the logic behind everything, then it will be very simple for you. For example, in Python, this is not how to write if statement in Python. I think this will not be here. Sorry, this. In Python, this will not be here. And Python is not a must for you to use this. Sorry. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry, can anyone hear me? All right.
Yes, we can hear
So
you
in
loud and
Python,
clear.
it's not a must that you will use this semicolon. It's not a must that you will use this semicolon. So it's just the syntax. But if you do that here, remember, that's a fatal error in C++. So yes, that is an error.
Okay.
That's an error.
Okay.
So, but in
Yes,
Python,
I don't
you
understand.
can do it this way, and it will not be an error. So the difference is just the syntax. But if you understand, like if you do C++ now, you understand the logic behind everything. Even if you go to Python, you will just have to adapt to Python syntax, and you can flow well. Yes, I
Okay,
think
no
I'll take the
problem. I
next
do
question.
understand. Okay.
Okay. So, Chubby Tony, can we have it, please?
Okay. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear
See,
you.
I wasn't here from the start. Okay, and I'm finding it kind of difficult to understand like the whole thing. So please, I'm begging, like, can you just like from the beginning just touch it a little bit? Let me understand. Thank you.
Maybe we can get a recording of the
All
recorded
right.
class. A session of the
Okay.
recorded class. Maybe
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, or the
Yes,
recorded
yes, I
part.
guess.
That
You can
that
put
would
I
be
in the
guess
better rather
WhatsApp
than
you
group.
you will
Okay,
get that.
yeah, that would be better rather than going back to it.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr.
The next question,
Mr.
please.
Henry.
Good evening. Good evening. Please, once it comes to programming, I'm a novice. You know, the reason why I apply is because of the video I saw
All
on
right.
Twitter. Yeah, I hope there will be a link for this tutorial so I can download, so I can re-download and follow up step by step. Then, if I'm not getting it, then I can come to the WhatsApp group or chat you up.
Okay.
It's
I will
fine.
just
There will
respond
be
to
a
that,
link.
and there'll be a link to the video as soon
Okay.
as it is ready. So don't worry about that. We got it covered.
Okay. Thank you.
So, Mr. Augustine, you're welcome.
Okay, good evening, everybody. So I come from a C background.
Yeah, good evening.
So I would like to know the preference of C++ over C with regards to IoT. I'd like to know the functionalities, like
Okay.
technical functionalities.
C++ is the upgraded version of C. So it's, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, C++ is the upgraded version of C. So like the Arduino we are talking about. Yes, Arduino was built with C++. Okay, so if you understand the concept of C++, but then before you understand C++ very well, it will be better to start from C language, and you already have a background in C. All right, can you see me?
Yes,
I
yes,
can.
yes, yes. Mr.
Okay,
Augustine,
so
are
you
you
already have a background in C. So
Yes,
you
I
just
do.
need to. Okay, yeah, that is it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so we move on to the next one. We have just two more questions because of our time. Now, Mr. Kingsley, please can you please unmute and ask your question?
And everyone, I'm sorry if this is not the right time. Mine is not actually a question. I just want to appreciate the presenter, Helen, for her presentation for this class. I really appreciate. But I think they were supposed to inform people that knowledge of programming will be relevant for this class, even though it may not be compulsory. So that is why they were waiting, they could have done maybe look up one or two things, because even though I'm conversant with Python and all the things, the training so far is not strange. But I'm just looking at it from the point of view of someone who is not used to programming. And I think you're doing a lot here already, because this is just like another thing as in teaching people programming alone on its own is a whole lot on your side. So I really commend you. Or if subsequently you do something like this, just tell people maybe in the WhatsApp group that they could look up or revise programming and stuff. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you very much for that. So I think I really tried to make this a basic class. So I started from the concept of C++ programming, and even telling you how to define variables, the data types and all that. So I think I have kind of giving you all like an introduction to this, so that when you hear if statements, it will not be a new thing to you. So when you do more research, you can be able to understand and also relate to all that I've said.
Okay, okay. I thank you so much, Mr. Kingsley, for the appraisals, and it is also noted. I think we are prone to improve over time. So learning never stops. Every day we learn one thing or the other. So thank you so much. That is really noted. So the last question for the day, Mr. Akiti Wycliffe.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you for the class. I just wanted to ask if there is any mobile app recommendation that you guys would recommend for people to be practicing code should in case you are not always with your laptops. Thank you. Hello, did you hear me?
Hello, can you hear
yes,
me?
loud and clear, sir. Yes, Ellen,
Yeah,
I can hear
Okay,
you.
all right. For mobile apps, there is like no really app you can download on your phone for this because this is not HTML and CSS. Okay. You need a compiler and every other thing to install for this. So what I'm going to tell you is if you want to keep practicing with your phone, then just like the online IDE that I am using, you can see I'm using an online IDE and I'll post the link to the group. So you can use this online IDE and do your stuffs and you can run it and see it there. Yes, I think that would be better.
thank you very much.
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you,
you're welcome.
everyone, this evening. Thank you so much, Ellen. Actually stated, we've taken in a lot, but like as promised, we are going to make the video available. So as soon as it's ready, you can always have access to it so that you can practice and see what you can learn. Also, we should not limit ourselves to this platform alone. There's YouTube for us to learn. Maybe something is not that clear, you can actually look it up. Or if there's room, you can ask the tutor, probably on the group when the group is opened, so that we can interact and then get to know more about things that you need to do. So we've started today, yes, or we can keep with the little knowledge we have gathered today. Before we start, I said we should get our notepads and everything that we might need. So given the things that we have jotted down today, we can actually begin to try things out, at least with the online compiler, even if we don't have not downloaded the app that she recommended. With the online compiler, we can try out our hands on it and see what we can get with that. So thank you so much, everyone. Okay, I'm seeing a hand required. Do you have a question?
Yeah, hello. I have a question.
Okay, let me just take that before we close today. Okay, go ahead, please. Go ahead, please.
Oh yeah, before I ask the question, so I just wanted to know, I don't know how much further Ellen plan to show us on the the basis of C++. I feel it's going to slow down so much. Like I don't know if there's a way that she could probably write the program in the Arduino module and then explain the whole concepts, because I think there's a lot of concept to show, like as introduction when trying to program something like IoT and all that stuff. So maybe she could just explain the whole concepts used in that part of program. And number two, I don't know why she's trying to is it the code blocks you are recommending? Because for someone like me, I don't use code blocks. I basically use PyCharm, but I do have VS Code, which I can probably run C++ program on. So I don't know, is code blocks a mandatory something, or I can proceed with VS Code?
Okay, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Okay, code blocks is not a mandatory IDE for this. Okay, you can use VS Code and install the C++ extension there. But the one I'll be using is code blocks. All right. So the one I'll be using is code blocks, and preferably if you can get videos online and install your C++ extension on Visual Studio Code, then fine. All we just need is to understand the concept of this code. So from what I was saying, now this thing we are doing is not exactly what we'll be doing in the Arduino language. So that is not what we'll be doing when we start uploading code to the microcontroller. But then I think when I start Arduino, you will kind of understand, because all this I'm doing here right now, if you don't understand these basics, you are still going to see these operators in Arduino. Maybe you might want to add something. So that is why I'm giving you the foundation now to understand how to do this, the conditional statements and all that. So in the Arduino language, I'll still show you how to program your microcontroller. like I said, tomorrow I'll be talking more of the Arduino microcontroller, and we are going to like make some electronic, like some circuits tomorrow. We are going to control some stuff tomorrow. Okay, just to show you how Arduino works. So, but if I don't do this class now, tomorrow when I'm doing the Arduino, when I'm working on the Arduino, you might be finding it difficult to understand when I declare a variable in the Arduino. So that is why I'm taking my time now to do this, to declare a variable and show you how to do it. So that when I get to the Arduino, you just understand the Arduino concept there. All right. So that is it. And just to help you understand more, I still have an assignment for you people. So just to help you understand more. Because remember, you're not going to depend only on what I teach you here. This is just a 3 days course, which I'm trying to just like introduce you to it, so that whenever you see it somewhere, it won't be like a new thing to you. So I think maybe you can just screenshot this or anything. So that is what I want people to try out. In the course of trying it out, you will go online, read more on variables, read more on conditional statements, and you understand it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Hope we are taking the screenshots. For those of us that are not able to, you get it on the group. I've taken a screen snip and I'll send it to the group as soon as the meeting ends. So it's been a wonderful time learning. I appreciate Ellen for taking it from the basis so that we understand where we get to the main deal or the main course. This is just like the appetizer before we go into the main course. So let us practice, let us see what we can do and learn more. Don't restrict your learning to just this alone. Make it the one that you can learn from other platforms also. So it's been a wonderful time this evening. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming on board. And tomorrow is another time. Let's get prepared. Let's try to, those of us that don't have the compiler, use the online compiler, make it easier. Then we can come tomorrow and then it makes the class run smoothly. And then we're able to learn faster. So thank you so much, everyone. And from us at Cisco Africa, we'd love to see you tomorrow. And wish you all a good night rest. Thank you. Bye.